Greetings, listeners, domestic, international, and extraterrestrial. I am Daive Reed.
And I'm Kristen Riley, and this is the Cast Files.
I am a sick little boy who's also a nerd who has somehow never seen the X-Files.
And I am not sick and watched it when I originally aired.
Yes.
Yep. The Cast Files is a podcast where we watch and discuss every episode of the X-Files, spoiler-free.
Today we are talking about Season 3, Episode 15, Piper Maru. It originally aired February 9th, 1996. It was written by Frank Spotnitz and Chris Carter, directed by Rob Bowman. The director of Airborne, the rock and rollerblade movie, starring Shane McDermott, Seth Green, and a young Jack Black.
Phenomenal. Did you know?
Probably not.
Piper Maru is Gillian Anderson's daughter's name.
I did not.
Mm-hmm.
Is the daughter named after the ship or the ship named after the daughter?
The ship is named after the daughter in this episode because Piper was born in season 2.
Oh, so it's that kid.
Yep,
Okay.
That kid. She also has a whole website. Would you like to see it?
Piper Maru's website?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, she's not a child anymore.
What? No, she was born after I graduated high school, so she is a child.
I can't open it. I don't know why. Okay, here we go. Here is her website. She has a whole little section called Halloween Horrors.
Lovely.
Look at it.
Nice retro feel to it.
Yep. You can get 20% off for all artwork right now.
We should probably tweet out a link or something so people know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I'll add it in the show notes.
Okay.
Okay, IMDb says the agents investigate the mystery surrounding a sunken World War II aircraft.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate.
I mean, kind of.
Kind of.
There's a lot happening in this episode.
There's a lot happening, not a lot being explained.
Yes.
So I'm going to introduce a new bit for this episode.
Oh, okay.
So we'll get there when we get there.
All right. Well, before we get to the extensive and surprising cast...
Is it? Okay.
That's what I've titled it instead of the cast for this episode.
Okay.
Piper Maru was written to showcase 2 visual images Chris Carter had wanted to include in a script, quote, since the beginning of the show.
2 visual images?
Yes.
So I'm guessing the plane under the water.
And what else?
And what else? Gooey people.
You know what? Close enough. The first of these was that of a deep-sea diver finding a still-living pilot trapped in the wreckage of a World War II-era fighter plane because he's in love with Nazis.
Yeah.
There's probably a different way to say that, but
Probably.
I haven't figured it out yet. And the second was that of a black and white flashback taking place in a submarine.
Wow.
Those were the 2 things that this man wanted to put in this supernatural show.
Yeah.
I think he wanted to make a different show.
Well, the still living pilot. That's definitely supernatural.
I guess that's true. All right. Ready to go to the extensive and surprising cast?
Please.
Really, it's just the last person, in my opinion, but whatever. So we've got Robert Clothier as Christopher Johansson. He was Dr. Lindstrop from The Outer Limits. I found a sci-fi through line here. We've got Ari Solomon as Gautier. He was Hasidic number 2 in The Possession. He was also Donovan Bane, the vampire hunter in Night Warriors, Dark Stalker's Revenge.
That's a long title.
It's such a long title. Kimberly Unger as Joan Gautier was in Stargate SG-1, like everyone else. Joe Bates as Geraldine Kalinchuk was in Fear.
Fear. The Marky Mark movie?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Glad you mentioned her because I have something to say about her later.
Okay. We also have Paul Batten as Dr. Sizer?
Sizer. They call him Sizer.
Yeah, Dr. Sizer. He was also from Stargate SG-1.
Okay. He looked familiar to me.
We have Tegan Moss as young Dana Scully. She was Cindy in Charlie St. Cloud. And the only reason I mentioned her even at all because she was in this episode for 4 seconds is because Charlie St. Cloud is a movie featuring your favorite actor, Zac Efron.
How did Zac Efron get to be my favorite actor? Just because I think he should play me in the movie.
Yes.
Based on my life.
Yes. That's exactly how. That is the total through line.
Okay.
And finally, we have Michael Bublé as...
Motherfucker.
Yep.
I can't believe I didn't... I can't believe I didn't catch that.
They got a close-up on his
They
face,
did.
too.
Oh, my God.
Yep. He is submarine crew member.
Wow.
Yep.
You were right. That was a surprising cast.
I had to. I was like, this is amazing. All right. On to the episode. Where Michael Bublé is in.
Extensively. He's basically the star.
Everyone in Canada starred or had some sort of role in The X-Files and Stargate SG-1.
Probably Psych as well. I bet if we go back through Psych, there's a lot of like young rising stars now that guested on Psych.
Oh, I bet. It's just the crossover because of the timeline with Stargate and the X-Files that it's so many people.
Yeah.
Stargate must have been shot in Toronto or something too.
I assume so, since there's so much crossover.
Yeah, so much. Piper Maru, a French salvage vessel, is exploring the Pacific Ocean. Gautier, a member of the ship's crew, is settled into a dry suit and lowered into the water. It's 2 degrees, and he dives 270 meters down into the sea, where he finds a sunken fighter plane from World War II.
No.
You know it's a World War II fighter plane because it's got a sexy lady on the side.
I think they should bring back sexy ladies on the sides of planes.
Just everybody should have a sexy lady on the side?
Yeah, not just fighter planes. Like every plane. Like your Delta flight should have a sexy pinup lady on the side of it. And sexy pinup men as well.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Tiny shorts.
Teeny tiny shorts.
I want sexy pinup men with tiny shorts.
Thong, 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 thong.
Yes.
Now for the listeners, I want them to know that 2 degrees in Celsius is roughly 34 degrees in real temperature.
I think because of how extensively Celsius is used, Celsius is the real temperature.
Now, this is the one thing I will, in seriousness, break away from the metric system. For temperature, Fahrenheit is just way better. There is a huge difference between 72 degrees and 78 degrees. There's a massive difference.
You do love to have this conversation.
I do. But now I've had it on mic, so I can stop saying it in real life.
Oh, thank goodness. Because it's mainly just to me.
Yes. Metric system and everything else, yes, we should switch to the metric system. But I maintain that for temperature, Fahrenheit just does make more sense.
You don't like it to be 28 or 29 Celsius and you have to dress differently?
Yeah. A 1 degree shift in temperature and it's a different wardrobe.
All right. Gautier loses contact with the ship, and they're trying to regain connection, but they can't connect to him. In the teaser, so that's what they're calling it, we call it the cold open.
Yeah, because we're industry people.
Yes. Through and through. The teaser was filmed in a water tank using a replica P-51 Mustang plane designed by the art director. So...
that all makes perfect sense.
It really does. But I like that they tell us that it was filmed in a water tank. I would love to see images of the water tank.
Okay.
I love set
pieces
and pictures
behind
and
the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
I bet there's an extensive behind the scenes X-Files book somewhere. I bet somebody did that.
There is. Do you know how many books I'm reading for this podcast already?
2?
I don't know. There's a lot.
Wait, 3 at least now.
At least 3.
If we count the Monsters of the Week.
Oh, then at least 4.
Oh, at least 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mainly because this is a bit of a teaser for you guys. I'm doing a special episode after season 3, episode 20. I'm doing a special episode.
Oh, okay. That's news to me as well.
Yeah, it's one of the books that I'm reading. And I'm also going to read a second book for that. And so, because I have to read 2 books, you have to listen to me tell you about them.
Okay.
And by have to, I've just decided that this is happening.
Fantastic. Can't wait.
I have so much to say. And it lines up really well. All right. So Gautier is shocked to find a man alive in the plane's cockpit.
Jake Johnson is trapped.
Is that who it is?
I don't know who
Oh, okay.
it really is, but he looks like Jake Johnson to me for a second. That's Nick from The New Girl.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely not him. That wouldn't make sense.
He's way too young at this point in time.
And what looks like black oil in his eyes. Not Gautier at this point. The guy who's been in the cockpit for decades.
60 years at that point?
Yeah. No.
50 years at that point.
When Gautier returns to the surface, he has become possessed by the black oil. But how? The guy was in the plane. Gautier is in a dry suit. They never touched. Even if Gautier had tried to get the guy out of the plane, which would have just been death to that man, of course. But he should be dead anyway, so I'm not really sure what I would do in this scenario. What a weird ethics question at this point.
Yes.
But even if he got the guy out of the plane, Gautier is still in the dry suit. So how does contamination happen? Because we also see Mulder touch this goo a lot. There's a guy in a minute who touches the goo, but he dies. And is this the light situation?
My note here is Qua.
Okay.
And then, we finally get a possession episode. That's nice. Because last episode was not possession, unfortunately.
No.
But the possession comes with eye contact.
Is that it?
That is it. It's flimsy, but...
It is flimsy.
Especially underwater when it's 2 degrees.
What does the temperature have to do with it?
It just seems like that's too cold for things to live in. So...
But this thing is from space.
It is from space, but
it's cold in space.
Well, it's probably not from space. It's probably from a planet in space.
Maybe it's a cold planet?
Could be. Pluto. It's from Pluto.
Pluto's not a planet anymore.
I thought it became a planet again.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
I didn't look that up because it had nothing to do with the episode, so I don't have the answer immediately. Would you like me to look it up?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
But the eye contact possession is...
I don't like that.
It's not my favorite.
I don't like it because, well, I guess... Okay, so if it's eye contact possession, it's not everyone who makes eye contact. It's the black oil decides who it wants to either possess or murder?
We'll get to the murder thing later. So let's sit down on the speculation sofa for a second.
Okay. Oh, this is the new
bit. It's the speculation sofa. So apparently this thing keeps you young.
Right.
And preserved and alive in any conditions.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a thing to keep in mind.
Any conditions. So this thing is keeping that guy's body alive. And if you were in water for that long, imagine how waterlogged...
He had some air in there too.
But it wouldn't be oxygen anymore. He would have breathed it all.
Yes.
Which is what I was going to get at. But then I got distracted by how waterlogged your body would be. And if you were in water for...
super gross.
It would slough off.
It would disintegrate.
Yeah.
It would be disgusting.
It would be horrifying also. It would be very painful.
Yeah. But this thing is keeping him together, apparently.
Until it gets somebody else and then he's probably dead now.
Let's talk about that in a minute.
Okay. All right. Speculation sofa. Okay, so the crew is worried because they were without contact for several hours. We know it's several hours because when he went down, the sun was up. And when he came up, the sun was down.
That's how we know the passage of time.
They ask Gautier questions, and he says he's okay. He just wants out of the suit, which is reasonable. He's been in the suit for a long time, and that can't be as nice as it must be to not have been, wet the entire time. He's probably sweating in that thing, so he probably is damp at this point.
Cramping up.
Yeah.
'Cause you can't sit down.
But you don't need to sit down.
Sure you do.
You have no weight.
No, because you're completely dry in there.
Huh.
Maybe there's a little stool inside the suit.
Yes.
You can put your butt down on.
One guy notices the substance on the suit. Did you notice that?
I did.
He runs his finger across the outside of the suit and kind of looks at it.
Yep.
But it's in passing, so pretty cool. Bit of trivia, according to the coordinates given at the very beginning, when we see the radio going back and forth, they're telling where the coordinates are. This takes place about 600 miles north of Hawaii.
600 miles north of, okay.
Just so you know. In Washington, Walter Skinner tells Agent Scully that the FBI's investigation into her sister's murder has been made inactive, despite the evidence that had been recovered.
First, we get a scene in the hallway. And one of the extras is the loudest extra I've ever heard on a television show.
So loud.
He just, hey, hold the elevator!
Yeah.
Why? Why did you do that to me? It's so distracting. Damn you, Rob Bowman.
Director of Airborne.
The rock and roller movie. But don't we know who killed... Okay, we know who killed Melissa, but
Yes.
I thought they knew who killed Melissa because they knew who was trying to kill Scully.
Right.
Louis St. Louis?
Louis Cardinal.
Wow, I was devastatingly close
You
with
were,
that name.
You were definitely a lot closer than I was. So we both said, don't we know who did it?
Yeah.
And yes, we know because we watched it. So in The Blessing Way, we see Louis Cardinal with Alex Krycek. Louis is the one who shoots her, and Krycek's like, fucking hell, and he leaves.
Yeah.
So we know, and the powers that be probably know, well, they definitely know.
Right.
But I guess Mulder and Scully and Skinner don't know?
Kind of feels like, I guess they don't know who specifically pulled the trigger. Right?
Yeah.
But they can assume who's involved.
It
who ordered
really-
it. So who's actually responsible for it.
Yes.
Kind of feels like that.
Yes, I agree. Well, Scully has a nice little bit here that I would like to break down.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to go sentence by sentence. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. So Scully says, "You know, it's strange. Men can blow up buildings and they can be nowhere near the crime scene, but we can piece together the evidence and connect them beyond a doubt." So what do you think about that?
It's because they leave a lot of evidence on the bombs.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, and in their homes.
Right.
They have all the bomb-making stuff.
That's what I was thinking.
And the FBI typically knows they're going to bomb something before they do it.
Right. And a lot of times they have some sort of manifesto, and the FBI has been tracking them for,
There's
I don't know,
always
a
evidence.
decade,
Yeah.
allowing them to get so close that they actually bomb stuff, which is like, what are you even doing then? But yeah, okay. So, yes, men can blow up buildings and be nowhere near the crime scene and be caught.
Yeah, because there's always a ton of evidence.
Yes. All right, next sentence. Our labs can recreate out of the most microscopic detail the motivation and circumstance to almost any murder, right down to a killer's attitude towards his mother and that he was a bedwetter. What do you think about that?
Absolutely not.
Nope, not even
Horse
a
shit.
little bit. Your labs aren't doing shit. This is Psychobabble 101. If there's someone who is above average intelligence and
what I was
also a
going to say.
multiple murderer, they hated their mother and they were a bedwetter because that's what you guys have decided.
Yeah. The bedwetter thing is so weird to me. We all wet our beds at least once when we were children.
Oh my gosh, yes! There's a whole process of learning your body as you grow.
I still, as an adult, I have weird dreams where I'm peeing constantly.
Oh god, awful.
Luckily, my body knows this is not the time to actually pee. But it's when I wake up, I'm like, oh my god, I've never had to pee so bad in my life.
So one of your recurring dream types is peeing constantly?
Yeah, like these weird bathrooms that are full of urinals.
Oh god. Awful. I'm glad you're not peeing the bed all the time. Or ever. But especially not all the time. Thanks for not peeing the bed all the time.
Hey, anything for you. I'm here for you.
Oh.
Up to and including not peeing the bed.
Not peeing the bed all the time.
All the time. Or ever. I'll throw ever in there.
You know, I'm leaving ever out because what if you're like really sick and it's just like I don't know.
Okay, well, so far,
Yes.
I haven't peed the bed since I was like 6.
Yeah. I hated that line. We both were like, what? No. And then, okay, the final point is, but in a case of a woman, my sister, who was gunned down in cold blood in a well-lit apartment building by a shooter who left the weapon at the crime scene, we can't even put together enough to keep anybody interested. What do you think about that?
Partially, I'm on board. Partially, I'm not, because leaving the weapon at the crime scene means it's a, I want to say, like, burner weapon. It's a drop gun. It's
Right.
designed to
Be left, yeah.
You don't keep it because if you have it, that ties you to the murder.
Yes.
Yeah, you've made sure that your prints aren't on it and it's not traceable.
Right.
So it makes sense to leave the weapon.
Yeah, because you don't want to accidentally get caught with it.
Yeah, so that's just a bad piece of information. Like, that has nothing to do with anybody's interest. Well-lit apartment. Nobody's around. Then nobody's around.
Yeah, because they didn't have cameras everywhere like they do now.
Yeah. And
not in the mid-90s.
5 months does seem too fast to drop it, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I think in the case of a woman being gunned down, the cops don't care anyway.
Well, no.
So her point is, like, we can't keep anybody interested. Right, the cops are never interested.
That's the part I'm on board with, is the interest part.
Just letting you guys know. The cops are never interested in solving cases.
I did think Skinner came through for her in this scene, though.
That was nice. He did miss the point completely when he said, I don't think this has anything to do with interest. She's like, if I may say so, sir, it has everything to do with interest, just not yours and not mine.
Yeah.
Which
he says he's going to appeal the decision, and then he's going to personally go through all the evidence. So I think he comes through for her on this.
I do too. I'm not mad at Skinner.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I think it's worth pointing out, though.
I'm just saying, don't have a lot of faith in the cops, guys.
No. It's hard to do a show about police when you're as ACAB as we are.
It really is. On a lighter note.
Yes.
Gillian Anderson received her first Emmy nomination for this episode.
Really?
Yep.
Not one that I would pick out as a standout for her. She does a great job, obviously, because she always does.
I agree. I thought that was interesting, but I read that and then watching her. So right after this scene with Skinner, she goes to the basement and Mulder says, hey, I got some information last night that I need to talk to you about. And her body language. And that moment I was like, Emmy.
Her entire being drops. She's like, oh. Like the conductor was the living embodiment of, okay, I guess. She was the living embodiment of, ugh.
Right. She had just had this whole scene. And she's like, do I have to do this again? Also, quick question before we get into what Mulder is actually talking about. In the first season, Scully's desk was down here also. Where is Scully's office now?
I think it's down here still.
He called her down to the basement.
Oh, you're right. Huh. That's very interesting.
Weird, right?
Yeah, that's weird.
And then they talk like she's not also down there. You're down here because they're afraid of you.
Yeah.
You are down here by yourself with all of your porn.
Maybe that's why she got a new office.
Oh, seriously.
Workplace harassment.
Seriously. Well, it comes up in a few scenes. Some more workplace harassment. All right, so Fox Mulder tells Scully about the Piper Maru, which had laid anchor at the same coordinates as another ship believed to have salvaged a UFO. That's so stupid. Sorry, I didn't react during the watch, and I just...
Well, they know that the
Piper Maru?
No,
the Zeus,
from earlier. They know that from the beginning of it's not the beginning of the season, but from the two-parter earlier in the season. They know that ship got something from those coordinates.
Oh, okay.
But back to speculation sofa. Fox Mulder's tie looks like a bunch of QR codes. Where do you think those links lead?
To his porn collection.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay.
To his secret UFO collection that he ordered from TV that he watched at 3 a.m. and he got...
What, just pictures of them?
Yep. He sent in $19.99 plus shipping and handling.
Okay.
What do you think's on it?
Well, since it's 1996, I think at least one of those QR codes leads to http://www.angelfire.com/Dave.
Oh.
My Angel Fire website.
I see. Wow. That was a weird plug for a site that doesn't exist anymore.
I'm just saying it's 1996, so that website exists.
Okay. Which means you can go into the Wayback Machine and find it. Which I believe I did. Yeah. All right. When the Piper Maru came to port in San Diego, her crew was found suffering from radiation burns. Gautier was the only one not suffering from severe burns. He piloted the ship to shore, was examined, but later checked himself out because he was fine. Except the black oil, but that doesn't seem to be an issue. A bit of trivia, Piper Maru is also the name of the icebreaker ship used by Wayland Corporation's retrieval team in Alien vs. Predator from 2004.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wonder why they did that.
Maybe a throwback to, or a nod to the X-Files? I don't know. When we go to visit the naval doctor and all of the men who are suffering from the radiation burns, one of the things that's thrown about is pre-advanced stage of coma, which I Googled and couldn't find anything about.
It sounded weird.
So then I was like, okay, well, what's an advanced stage of coma? And they're like, here are the stages of coma. And none of them said, like, this is the worst stage than the previous stage. So I don't know what a pre-advanced stage of coma is, and I don't think they do either, because Google doesn't.
Yeah, I certainly don't know. But Scully does ask a pertinent question about acute or somatic or something to that effect. And the doctor gives her this look that just says, woman no thing?
That was an intelligent question. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
He just looked so confused by the fact that a woman could know a thing.
Mm-hmm. She said, I'm a medical doctor. Are you from that same town as that other guy who was like...
I'm not being sexist.
Don't you think you're too close to this case being a boob haver? He might as well have said that.
Men have boobs too.
That guy doesn't know. The agents go hang out with the Navy aboard the ship. The Navy couldn't find anything at all, like even regular levels of radiation.
Yeah, they say there's no radiation at all. I'm like, I don't think that's true of any place on the planet. Wouldn't that be an anomaly?
But he said you're going to get more radiation out of that cell phone there, sweetie. And so my thought is their equipment's broken.
Right?
So maybe they should check that.
Yeah.
Before letting everybody onto the ship, but they don't. So our intrepid agents go aboard. They find traces of the black oil on Gautier's diving suit, which Mulder touches with his bare hands.
Yeah, not they find it. Mulder just goes up and starts raw dogging the goo. Dude.
It's his kink, man. He's like, I love oily things, apparently.
Ugh.
They get the generator back up, and the place is a mess. Mulder says it feels like home. So... this leads me to a question. We've seen Mulder's apartment. It's never messy, except for in the gargoyle episode where he had all of the pictures up about all of the gargoyles. Do you think he still has all of the gargoyles up on his walls?
Yes. And we saw it when his place got ransacked.
Oh, yes.
And we speculated, is that just how Mulder lives?
Right.
So maybe it does.
And you know what? It doesn't look messy most of the time. But he wasn't, I don't think he was cleaning up after the ransacking, which is like, oh, this is just his day-to-day, huh? He better be paying whoever is keeping house for him extra for some of these situations.
You live in an apartment like that and can afford a housekeeper? That's weird.
He's not doing his own anything.
Sure he is.
He's not.
He's keeping his own porn collection. He's buying his own sunflower seeds.
He stopped doing the sunflower seeds.
They'll be back.
You think?
They'd better.
Somebody's going to remember that they haven't had him for a while.
Eventually, a director will remember that. That's a thing.
Okay.
Somebody will flip through the show Bible and go, oh!
Oh, yeah. Whoops. It just hasn't been, the fans haven't called it out too much yet, so they haven't figured it out or remembered.
Harry Knowles hasn't done an entire article about him forgetting sunflower seeds.
Right. They take a look at the video shot while Gautier was diving. Upon viewing, Scully identifies the sunken plane as a P-51 Mustang, which turns Mulder on.
I love this bit because the Navy guy goes, I don't know what that is. What? It doesn't look like anything to me. Then Mulder goes, it's a plane. And then Scully identifies exactly which plane. And then the Navy guy goes, you're right, little missy.
I love this new character we've created.
Thank you for confirming that, weird guy.
when you had no idea
what it was
1 second,
at all.
1 second ago, no idea. Meanwhile, Gautier returns home and searches for something. When his wife Joan arrives, she's at first excited to see him, which makes sense. The consulate had been by to tell her that there had been an accident. So she was obviously worried. She hadn't seen her husband. She didn't know anything. She knew that he was on this ship, that there was an accident. When Gautier doesn't respond, she backs up because he's acting strangely, which is the first time that they have written a woman to behave like an actual woman would behave.
She doesn't take forever to figure this out. She obviously doesn't know what's wrong.
Right.
But she knows something's wrong immediately.
Yes.
And I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
Mrs. Gautier is no dummy.
Yes. She runs away, which is great, but he catches up to her and he passes the black oil, or the black oil possesses her. Because again, at this point, we're still speculating what's happening.
I'm just going to call it the entity.
Okay. I did look because the first viewing, I wasn't sure how this was passing. I think you're right, through eye contact if it wants.
This is where I got the eye contact.
That makes sense.
He looks directly in her eyes.
Yeah. Later, she flashes light and gets goo on people. And so this second time that we watched it, I looked for a flash to see if I had somehow, I don't know, missed it, blinked, was writing notes or something the first time. No flash. So it's not specifically a flash thing, because that could have happened under the water too.
It could have, but it didn't. The flash is something different.
Yeah, it seems like it. I was just trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Speculation so far.
Yeah. I'm sitting on it. Bit of trivia. The name Gautier was a reference to special effects producer David Gautier.
Shout out David Gautier.
Yeah. Scully visits an old friend of her father's, Commander Christopher Johansson, seeking information about the plane, because she knows what plane it is. They've got the name of the plane. They've got the call number on the plane, whatever you call that.
Yeah. Weird that she would go to this guy instead of going through some archives. Looking through some records. Hey, do you remember this one plane from 50 years ago? Why on earth would I?
This whole interaction is, yeah, she could have just gone to the archives.
It's strange.
But we have to have it because she's driving down the street and she's reminiscing about her sister, and we're supposed to, it's supposed to be some feelings related stuff here too, because she also talks about her dad passing, and then we find out this other guy's passed, and it's just it's a bunch of shots on the base cut weirdly. So it was hard to line up everything as it was happening, but mainly just like unnecessary beyond they wanted to get the death part in here.
The death part?
Yeah, I just said. Sister's dead. She's feeling feelings about that. Dad's dead. She's feeling feelings about that. Son's dead. He's feeling feelings about that. You can't get that from archives.
Very true.
Anyway, so she goes to visit Commander Christopher Johansson. She says that she's just visiting. She knows the way. So this guy's lived here for 40 years. Not 40 years. She's not that old. But 20 years. Because in the book...
Yeah, she's in Maryland, right?
Yes. They have moved. And I don't know how often they move commanders from place to place, but still he would be retired. Do they still house them on base?
That's what I assumed on the first watch, that he was retired, and I thought it was really weird because he has a lot of power here.
Yeah.
They never mentioned that he's retired.
That's true.
So he might still be the commander.
That seems really bad because he is playing like he's got memory problems.
Yeah.
Of course he is playing, so maybe he's fine.
Yeah,
but
I guess he is. Maybe he's a great commander.
Maybe. While she goes to visit Commander Johansson, Mulder is back at the Gautier's house. He knocks and says, "Yo, let me in, I'm the FBI." And nobody lets him in, so he goes in anyway.
Without a warrant.
Yep. He finds Gautier passed out, covered in black oil. Mulder does not take precautions.
He raw dogs the goo again. And at this point, just taste it, dude. I know that's what you want.
Just to let anybody know who hasn't just recently watched this, he's not actually fucking the goo. He's just touching it with his
no
whole
gloves.
His whole hand.
Just sloop.
And putting it so close to his nose.
Just right. Yeah, just taste it.
Just do it. Just lick the guy. Mulder checked. I said Mulder does not take precautions, check his surroundings, or put on gloves because we just got back from a wilderness first aid class, and I'm like, he has missed so much.
The entire first step.
All of it. Yep. He does touch Gautier with bare hands, and once again, he gets the black oil all over him. Gautier has no memory of his experience. The last thing that he recalls is being on the Daive. Gautier asks about his wife, who isn't home because she left after being infected by the black oil. What did you say that you wanted to call it? By the entity?
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to figure out what's going on. Mulder keeps asking questions. He's like, somebody's gone through all your shit. Your wife's not here. And he asks a couple of questions. And Gautier says, oh.
He gets real quiet.
Nope. I'm done answering questions. Call the consulate.
Diplomatic immunity.
Yep.
All right, so back to the speculation sofa for round 2 here. You do not die when the entity depossesses you.
Right.
So the guy at the bottom of the ocean in the plane.
Fuck. You think he's still there?
I think he's dead now.
Oh, shit.
But I think he died horribly.
What do you think the last thing that guy remembers is?
Being shot down in a world.
When did
he would have had to have been possessed before that.
Yeah. So
he's just like on a military base or something, and then suddenly at the bottom of the ocean.
Oh,
terrifying.
Man. Ugh.
Absolutely terrifying.
Awful. I hate it. Back on the base, Johansson tells Scully that he doesn't know anything, or he pretends to not know anything, which becomes completely pointless in a few moments. So Scully departs after asking about his son, saying, if you talk to him, let him know I stopped by, and recalling some childhood memories that occurred right outside the door. She said, I remember playing Beckon's Wanted right out there. I was like, what the hell is that? Do you know what that was?
No, I don't think that was a real thing.
So I looked it up.
Okay.
It is a children's game. It is a variant of Prisoner's Bars. So I was like, what is Prisoner's Bars? So I looked it up. It is a game in which 2 teams chase and capture any opponents running from their home area.
Okay.
So it's like tag, capture the flag, variations of other games that we played as kids.
Okay.
But I looked it up because I was like, is this a thing? It's apparently a variation of another thing I never knew about. Mulder found a letter from a salvage broker at Gautier's house, and he visits the broker's secretary, Geraldine. He thinks it's the secretary.
Now, at first, I was like, oh, you're a woman, you're the secretary, right? But she's sitting at the secretary's desk. So she did that on purpose.
She did.
Which is good.
Yes.
And a little more credit to Mulder than I had originally given him.
All right. She has a gun on him the whole time he's there, but nothing happens. He does say, maybe you typed this for him? And she says, I don't type. And I was like, of course not. Do you see a typewriter on this desk? No, the answer is no. There was not
She's
a typewriter.
not a very useful secretary if she doesn't type.
You know what? Good. Get paid. Mulder sticks around outside. He leaves her office, but he sticks around the yard to watch, and a bunch of armed men converge on the salvage office. But Geraldine has already left out the back. Mulder follows Geraldine away from the yard. He doesn't do it very covertly, but apparently she never looks in a rear view, so it's okay.
She is overconfident.
She is very confident. Scully is leaving the base, and the guards tell her she is being detained. It's so extra because he just takes her back to where they were 5 minutes ago.
It's a lot.
Then we go back, because this jumps around a lot. Both Mulder and Joan is Joan Gautier, who is now possessed by the entity. They track Geraldine to Hong Kong, but first, Mulder and Scully talk about how an atomic weapon has been lost at sea for at least 50 years, which is what the French salvagers were trying to locate, because it would be easier to find than to build.
I have a pretty serious question about that. Why would the French government try to steal an American nuclear warhead?
I don't know.
That would be such a huge deal.
It would be.
It makes less than 0 sense.
It really does. So in the next episode, I was reading a couple of comments about it. I actually didn't read through much, but I got a couple of things that were like, all right, basically, when you have something like the black oil in this world, right? You've got your black oil entity, right?
Yeah, I'm having some other thoughts. You go first.
It kind of makes everything else less important.
Because of just how powerful this thing is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have this they're going after, we think they're going after this weapon. And in this world, I just don't care. I'm like, tell me about this black oil. What is happening?
Obviously, they're lying about stuff.
Yeah.
They're not going for a nuke, which means that this plane was not escorting a nuke that didn't make it.
Right, so what was it escorting?
I think it shot down the UFO that other ship got.
Oh, you think? You think that it shot down the UFO took it down, and maybe that's when they got infected?
Possessed? Kinda has to be.
How would they do that? They all have windows and they all made eye contact with everybody?
Like, that's
I guess so.
Reasonable, I guess. If you're flying at the same speed for a little bit.
Maybe.
You'd go bloop, bloop, bloop.
I guess it makes more sense that they would be possessed at that point than at a point in time prior to being out there.
Yeah. So I think this squadron, Drop Dead Red, that's so secretive because its call letters are not the call letters of a P-51.
Right.
It's like a UFO hunting squadron.
I was going to ask, why would they be so far north of Hawaii? There's nothing else out there.
No, but Navy's probably fought out there.
Why?
Because it's between U.S. and Japan.
600 miles north, though, just seems like...
Nothing out there, really?
Yeah.
That's why they were out there, because they were hunting UFOs, not doing World War II stuff.
Maybe. Wild. Who knows? Who knows even if the writers thought this hard about it?
Yeah, well, if not, you can have my ideas if you'd like. I'll give you my rates later.
Go ahead and retcon. In a side quest, Skinner spends a lot of time at a restaurant.
In the industry, we call that a B story. Right. And I was actually excited that we are getting a B story in this show, because B stories can be good.
I agree. I was still just like, I just want to know about the black oil this whole time. I'm like, I don't care about the weapon. I don't care what Skinner's doing in this empty restaurant. Tell me about the black oil. You got my attention. But that was my take. So Skinner's at this restaurant. These dudes basically tell Skinner that there's a hierarchy and he better remember it.
They say that they are from the intelligence community.
And Skinner says, remind me not to move there.
Yeah.
And I was like...
I would have said, can you vague that up a little for me? Because that doesn't mean anything, bud.
No. So wouldn't Skinner also be part of the intelligence community?
Yes, the FBI is absolutely part of the intelligence community.
And Mulder and Scully and everyone everywhere, all at once. Yeah. So they warn him to stop looking into Melissa Scully's case. So then I got distracted because, again, I understand this is probably going to be a thing, but I was just looking at the restaurant, and this restaurant would not have survived the last couple of years.
Oh, why is that?
Because there was no one in it, ever.
It's true.
There was Skinner, who I think had a coffee the first time he was there.
He said, is coffee hot?
That's it.
What? Yes. What?
That's it.
What a weird question.
The other guys came in to warn him about a hierarchy and then fucked off. They didn't order anything. Mm-hmm. Nobody else was in there. The next time Skinner's in there, he orders the blue plate, but gets shot before he can pay. So no one's ever getting any money in this place. And they're just scaring off all the customers.
It's just a money laundering front.
Good. I hope they're actually paying the waitress there. She's the only one doing work. I'm glad she didn't get shot, actually. We'll get there. Back to Scully. Johansson admits that he had been sent to find a sunken bomber aboard the submarine Zeus Faber and recalls how many aboard the sub suffered from radiation burns while he joined a mutiny against its commanding officer, who succumbed to the black oil. That's all I got about that scene. You got any more?
Speculation sofa.
Go for it.
Round 3. So the captain was possessed by the entity. They all died around him, but we know that the black... Now you got me calling it black oil.
That's what they call it.
Okay, well, I'm calling it the entity.
Okay.
We all know that the entity preserves the body, keeps you alive in any scenario. So the captain wouldn't have died.
Not unless it wanted him to.
Which would be weird, because then what would it do?
Right, where would it go?
Exactly.
So you think the captain's still alive somewhere?
Possibly. But what I do know is there are 2 of these entities out there. Because this is not the one that was at the bottom of the ocean. That's
very true. There's multiple vectors, I guess.
Vectors? There's multiple entities.
Do you think they're how does venom work?
It's a symbiote that gets on your skin and then just kind of...
It can get on multiple people, right?
No.
Only one
Like
at
only,
a time?
like when it can get on other people, but it doesn't bond with the other people. Just that person just has some goo on them.
Oh. Do you think that's what's happening?
No.
You think it's 2?
Yes, it has to be 2. They would have had to have said that we didn't find the captain.
Right.
Or that we did find the plane or something.
Yeah. I wish we had watched the second one now, just so that we would have answers. But I guess this is how it was in real time.
This is how it was in real time, and this is how it is on our podcast. So,
yeah,
because I thought about that as well, but I didn't want to know before we recorded.
That makes sense. But also, this is the first time we've had a 2-parter where I'm like, I just need to know! Before I've been kind of like, okay, I can wait.
There's a lot of unanswered things in this.
Yes. I hope they answer them.
Yes. Because one of the things the Commander Johansson says is, none of us ever got an explanation.
Right.
And I said, bold that sentence.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Meanwhile, we hop back over to Hong Kong because, like I said, a lot's happening in a lot of places here. Nobody's together. Everybody's working by themselves. Mm-hmm. So in Hong Kong, Mulder learns that Geraldine is a middle person selling government secrets. Mulder finds her at a restaurant, one with actual patrons. Did you notice?
Hong Kong is hopping.
Yeah. There were people there just having their Tuesday night dinner.
96, I think Hong Kong was still British.
What?
Hong Kong was under the British Empire for a long time.
All right, well, he handcuffs himself to her and drags her out of the restaurant.
That was a good move because she was like, you can't arrest me. You don't have a gun. What? You don't need a gun to arrest somebody? What are you talking about?
I was like, no. He can't arrest you because he has no jurisdiction here.
That's why, yes. That is why he can't arrest you.
But they do make a really good, or a really loud point, not really good, but a really loud point about not being able to have weapons so that later...
when somebody has a weapon.
You know what happens when you outlaw guns. All right.
Krycek is trying to be hardcore here.
He really is.
Spoilers.
All right, anyway, so he handcuffs her, he drags her out of the restaurant. Apparently, Geraldine has an office nearby in Hong Kong where they go, and Mulder just knows where it is also.
I think it's in the restaurant.
It's not very far away.
It can't be.
How did he find out
drag her across the city, handcuffed, and nobody noticed?
I don't know. Nobody seems to be reacting much. There was like a guy who was like, whoa, or, oh, sorry, excuse me, we were in the same spot on this walkway, so you're just dragging the lady out? All right.
Good luck with that.
Right. He asks her to unlock the door, and she just looks at him, so he kicks in the door. Then he asks where the light switch is, and that's when Krycek says, it's over, it's right here. That's what he says.
Hell yes. Alexander Krycek back in the building.
Yep.
I loved it.
He is so sweaty that he looks like he's coming off of something.
Because he's the bad guy.
Yes.
So he's sweaty.
Of course.
He has gotten a haircut.
Yes.
Which is good.
Yes. But he does look like he is just crashing he hasn't slept in 4 days. His eyes are red. He's super sweaty. In a great move, because Mulder and Geraldine are still handcuffed together, he pushes Geraldine out the door, slams it in between where the chain is. So Geraldine's in the hallway, Mulder's in the office with him, and then, as they're talking, somebody shoots Geraldine in the hallway, and so Mulder falls to the ground because they're cuffed together.
It's great.
And Mulder says something like, what a great way to treat your partner. And Krycek, as he's leaving out the window, says, she's your partner now.
So good.
It was so good.
So good.
So good.
I was talking about how this needs to become more of an ensemble. We need more reoccurring characters. And here is Alex Krycek, a person who I did not appreciate at the time. And I appreciate him now.
Good. I'm glad you came around.
Super happy that he's back. And I hope he is a thorn in the side of Fox Mulder until season 11.
Right. I do too. I really do too. The reason that Krycek is there is he is selling secrets to Geraldine.
She's the middle person for him to sell to other people.
Yes. So they're about locations and whatever, government secrets, blah, blah, blah. Krycek escapes through the window and is gone. That's when Mulder knows that people are in the hallway because Geraldine just got shot. And Mulder brings out the first of 2 loose keys in this episode.
They make me nervous.
I hate it.
They give me anxiety. Why is that handcuff key just loose?
Just a loose, tiny key. He unlocks the handcuffs and escapes. By the time that the guys in the hallway make it into the room.
Doing an amazing barrel roll.
Yes! I actually wrote that in my notes. One guy in a trench coat. Amazing
barrel roll. Beautiful.
Just, chef's kiss. Love it.
10 out of 10.
Yes. Mulder's gone, of course, so they don't get him, but really loved that scene. Then, as the guys, they are speaking French, as they leave Geraldine's office, they're walking down the hall. Joan is walking down the hall also, encounters the men, creates a flash that causes them all to suffer from the radiation burns and oily skin that we saw from the
French sailors.
Yes.
So the light is not the possession thing, it's
the radiation.
It uses that as a weapon.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Speculation sofa. Round 4.
Yeah.
So do the possessed emit radiation just kind of constantly oozing it out a bit enough to kill the people around them?
That's a really good question because it wouldn't make any sense for the
captain of the sub to start killing its men.
Right.
And they were up and moving and cogent.
Right.
So they would be like, that guy, he became really bright. And so would the French sailors because they looked like they were still... I don't know if they were coherent.
I don't know either by the time they got there. But yes, it wouldn't make sense to use as a weapon
on the sub.
Even though during the mutiny they lock him in the room with the guys who are slowly dying or quickly dying, depending on your timeline. It still wouldn't make any sense to weaponize that.
Right.
It would make more sense for him to be emitting radiation that in close proximity for X amount of time. But when they tested Gautier, they said they didn't find anything. Wouldn't they find
him emitting radiation?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wouldn't it would tick off something. Something would trip, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think we have a plot hole.
Dang it, we stepped in it.
Dang it.
All right, so returning to the same restaurant, back in our side quest, Skinner sees a man who turns out to be Louis Cardinal. Louis or Louis?
Whatever.
Arguing with a waitress because he has lost $1.75 in the payphone, which
in 1996 money,
which is annoying.
It's like $84.
Right. He's also waiting for a call, so I don't know why he was putting money in the phone when he was waiting for a call.
Because he wasn't. This is all
a
ruse.
Just to shoot Skinner?
Yeah.
Why? Because
Skinner is investigating him murdering Melissa Scully.
But why would he do it in what could have been public? What if somebody stumbled in there to have an actual meal?
It's just the way he wanted to do it, or the way he was told to do it, or he was told to shoot him non-fatally to send a message, but we still need to keep Skinner alive for some reason.
Because he has to be in more of the episodes.
I guess that would be the reason.
Yeah.
And he also yells at him, "Suck hard, friend."
Yeah, he does.
Is what he yells.
Yeah, I looked it up too.
You did too.
I saw you looking it up. I looked it up too. Nuts. What a weird thing to yell at somebody. Or what
shooting them.
What an amazing thing to yell at someone, actually. So yeah, he turns around, shoots Skinner in the guts. Then we go back to Hong Kong, where Mulder catches Krycek at the airport. Krycek tells Mulder that there is a tape in a locker back in Washington, D.C., and he says, so Mulder's like, give it to me. And he's like, I don't have it. I'll give it to you if you let me go. And I'm like, you showed your hand too soon. You already said you don't have it. But so they have a confrontation, but Krycek doesn't tell Mulder anything before Mulder headbutts him in the face.
Which is nice.
Which was pretty savage.
There was a lot of really good shit in this.
It was great,
episode.
yeah. this sentence. Krycek, who is also a fan of loose keys,
Yes. Oh my God.
says that he'll give Mulder the key in exchange for letting Krycek go.
During this conversation, though, Krycek says he did not kill Bill Mulder. Mm-hmm. Which
he did, though, right?
He absolutely did. He pops out
in the shower.
Bill Mulder's shower.
Yeah.
Points a gun at his head. We hear the gunshot. It would be a wild coincidence if somebody else murdered Bill Mulder.
Can you imagine?
While Krycek is pointing a gun at him.
That would be so nuts. Let's say you're on assignment and your assignment is to go thread some guy with a gun. Oh. What have you done with your life? Your life has gone sideways somewhere. But that's what your assignment is. So you go do it. And while you're doing it...
while you're threatening someone to scare them.
And the whole assignment includes, do not kill him. We need him alive.
Wow. That's bad luck. That is tragic.
I think we have concluded that Bill Mulder is a bad guy, though.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe he's always almost been shot. And this night was just the night that it happened.
Wouldn't there be evidence of that, though? Because... unless Krycek had a buddy in the shower with him, the bullet would have had to come from outside of the house.
Wouldn't there be evidence in this show?
I guess not.
If there is,
I guess that was a dumb question.
Mulder's touching it with his bare hands when it's already in evidence. I'm really curious. When he said that, I was like, no. I saw you.
Yeah.
I saw you. Dude, well, I guess I didn't see you do this, but I saw you moments before.
Right.
So, definitely curious. All right, well, Mulder says, all right, go to the bathroom. I'll give you 3 minutes or I'm coming in and
coming in to kill you.
Kill you.
Good line. Lots of good lines. Lots of good stuff.
Yeah.
Good episode.
So, Mulder lets Krycek go to the bathroom where Krycek is confronted by Joan. And as he departs the bathroom to leave with Mulder, Krycek's eyes show that he's now infected with the black oil. And Mulder says, feel better? And Krycek struts out. He says, like a new man.
His reaction to a woman's pair of pumps next to him at the urinal is amazing. I loved it. What the?
It was like someone gave him surprise candy.
Yeah, he was so delighted. It was great.
It really was. And now he's possessed. So there we are. Do we survive and ship now, or do we wait for the second half?
Oh, I've got ships and survives.
Okay.
I'm shipping us and answers.
Love it. Loving that for us.
Yes, me too. So we can get off of the speculation sofa.
We can't. We live here now.
Oh. Well, if we get the answers, we won't need to.
We'll have more questions.
Do you have anything?
I really want Joan and Gautier to get back together.
They seemed good.
They really did.
They took a picture in front of the Eiffel Tower. That's how you know it's real.
Yeah.
How are you surviving?
God, I don't know, man. Not making eye contact with anybody. Oh no, I'm making eye contact with you as I say this.
Oh, that's funny because I'm surviving by getting possessed by this thing.
But you don't know if you're still a person anymore.
Gautier is. We see...
I guess he is back again.
We see that you are okay once the possession is over with.
Unless you're in a plane at the bottom of the ocean.
Well, yeah, don't let him do that. But survive for a long time.
But
for 50 years, apparently, and I won't age.
Yeah, but you won't remember anything that happened in those 50 years.
Yeah, but then it'd be like a cool 50-year just time jump.
And everyone you know and love will be dead.
We're old. Riley will still be alive.
That's true.
You might still be alive. My grandma's in her 90s.
Yeah, and what's she doing?
She doesn't know.
Yeah. Look, I already don't know. You think I can do this for another 50 years? So you would want to time jump 50 years?
Well, not at this point in my life, no. But previous to our us meeting, yeah, that seems like something I'd be interested in.
Man, do you think it's gonna... How much worse is it gonna be now in 50 years?
Could be worse, could be better.
How?
I'm curious to find out, though.
I would love to say that also, but I just don't have it in me.
The Cast Files is produced by Kristen Riley and Daive Reed. Edited by Daive Reed.
You can find us on Twitter at CastFiles. You can find me on Twitter at Daive Reed. That's DaiveReed. You can email us at thecastfiles. That's the with 2 E's at gmail.com. If you could please go rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars, and tell us that we are doing phenomenal things. Artistic, wonderful things. We are raising the bar on podcasting. We would love you forever for that. We have a TeePublic store. You can go buy t-shirts and stuff there. Music by House 6. Logo by @OokaArt. That's OOKAART.